Hey folks, it's time for our Wednesday topic of the week. This week, we're talking about the basics of starting a compost pile. It's nature's way of recycling nutrients and building soil life right in your own backyard. When you start a compost pile, you're basically creating a miniature ecosystem that mirrors the soil food web. Everything that once lived, plants, food scraps, even paper, becomes food for microorganisms. Those microbes break it all down and turn it into rich, dark compost that feeds your soil and your plants. It's the ultimate cycle of life, and once you understand it, you'll never look at waste the same way again. Composting is really about giving back to the soil what it gave to us. When organic matter breaks down, it releases nutrients that plants can use again, but this time in a form that's gentle, balanced, and full of life. It's a way of closing the loop. Instead of tossing out your food scraps, you're feeding the same microbes that, in turn, feed your plants. Those tiny decomposers are doing the heavy lifting underground, recycling every bit of life that passes through your garden. Now, to get started, you only need two main ingredients: greens and browns. Greens are your nitrogen-rich materials, things like vegetable peels, coffee grounds, and fresh clippings. Browns are carbon-heavy materials, like dried leaves, straw, cardboard, or wood chips. Think of it like cooking. Greens are the protein, and browns are the carbs. You need both to make a balanced meal for your microbes. The ideal ratio is roughly 6 parts browns to 4 parts greens. Too much green and your pile can smell or get slimy. Too much brown and it'll slow down because the microbes won't have enough nitrogen to stay active. If you find this type of stuff interesting or useful, do me a favor and like, share, or join our community in the description for more tidbits of information. Now let's get back to it. Once you've got your mix right, the real magic begins. The microbial takeover. Composting is alive. Bacteria start the breakdown process, digesting the easy stuff. Then fungi step in, tackling the tougher woody materials that bacteria can't handle. Protozoa show up to eat some of the bacteria, keeping the population balanced. It's an entire microscopic food web, all working together in your compost pile. You might not see them, but if your pile's steaming or warm to the touch, that's their way of saying we're hard at work. That heat you feel is a sign of life. When microbes are active, the pile naturally heats up, sometimes reaching 131 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the sweet spot where weed seeds and harmful pathogens are destroyed, but beneficial microbes still thrive. If it starts cooling down too soon, it could mean the microbes ran out of food or air. Just give it a quick turn, or you might need to add water to spark things up again. It's kind of like stoking a campfire. You just need the right mix of fuel and oxygen to keep it burning. Speaking of oxygen, that's where turning your compost really makes a difference. Those microbes need air to breathe, and when the pile gets too compacted, things can turn anaerobic. This means it starts to smell and slow down. Turning the pile at the right time adds that burst of oxygen they crave. It redistributes moisture, breaks up clumps, and keeps decomposition moving fast and clean. If you've ever noticed your pile going flat or soggy, that's a clue it needs a little fluffing. Moisture is another key piece. Microbes can't move or digest without water, but too much and they'll drown. The perfect balance feels like a wrung-out sponge or just one drop when you squeeze the material. In dry climates like here in Las Vegas, a light watering now and then goes a long way, and covering your pile with a tarp can help keep that moisture in and protect it from drying winds. With all these pieces working together, the greens and browns, heat, moisture, and oxygen, what you're really building is a living compost system. It doesn't just make fertilizer, it creates a thriving microbial community that transforms organic matter into stable, nutrient-rich humus. That's the stuff that gives your soil structure, retains water, and keeps your plants strong season after season, unlike that dry stuff from the store. The best part is, once you get the hang of it, composting becomes second nature. You start seeing every banana peel or pile of leaves not as waste, but as potential, as the next meal for your soil. And when you finally dig into that finished compost, dark and crumbly with that earthy smell, it feels like you've bottled a piece of nature's own magic. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.